Okay, we are back. It's Ask an Archer. I think this is interview probably 51 or something. We've been away for a while. COVID happened, came and went, and then we tried to get back to normal. My name is Jarryd from Archery for All. For those who've been following, we appreciate that. We have a new special guest on our series of interviews. This is Jarryd Gracious from Rogue Archery down in Australia. Is that right?
Yeah, Brisbane, Australia.
Brisbane, Australia. Awesome. Thank you very much for taking the time and meeting with me. We've been speaking to each other online through your YouTube channel. I've been following that, which is really, really interesting. A lot of the great coaching tips and the things you've had. So I thought, why not get Jarryd on the Ask an Archer series? It would be a great addition to the series we've had so far. And it's always nice to connect with people, especially on the other side of the globe, and see how they're doing things differently, or even in a similar way that we're doing it here. So, Jarryd, I appreciate your time. Give us a little intro about yourself, a little background, how you got into coaching, archery, etc., and tell us a little bit about your academy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, thanks for the call. It's good to talk to you, I guess, in person, and hello to everyone out there in the Archery for All community. So yeah, I'm Jarryd. I'm the head coach at an archery academy here in Australia called Rogue Archery. And I started archery. It's not an original story, really. I was a teenager, about 15 years old, and got invited down to a local archery club with a friend. Did one of their introductory courses, loved it. Been shooting sticks in my backyard for years, and so this was, awesome. Really enjoyed it and kept going back. And then it wasn't long before, fortunately, I had a really great coach at the club approach me and just kind of recruited me into his little coaching squad, just a couple of people. And Rick Wenk was his name. He's still an amazing friend of mine, and he was a great mentor for me. So he taught me the basics and of technique and training, and he had a really good athletic mindset. So that a high performance mindset. So that's something that rubbed off on me very closely as well. And then I started taking training more seriously. And then, so with his guidance, made very rapid progress pretty early on. And within about 6 months of starting to shoot, he threw me in the deep end, and our club was actually hosting the national championships, the youth championships at the time. And so he just gave me a kick in the butt and just entered me. Told me, hey, you're shooting the nationals, in a couple of weeks.
By the way.
Yeah, by the way. And at the time, I'd only done close distance training, like a lot of technique work on training bows and in front of mirrors and just basic position and form training. But I hadn't shot any competitions, hadn't shot any tournaments, hadn't even shot any long distance past like 30 meters. Wow. And so, but we thought, hey, what the hell? He'll throw me in the deep end. And I ended up placing top 5 in a pretty competitive division.
Wow.
And then I was hooked. And then from there just went on and did pretty well in the junior divisions and won the national championships several times and set some state and national records. Wow. And then as well made some national teams in the open men's team, and sort of took it from there. But then really I got into I was coaching a lot of the time while I was shooting, and I was always just sort of mentoring 1 or 2 archers and kind of helping them along. And eventually that just kind of snowballed, and it started and it kind of, exploded from there. And now, we've got over 148 students across 6 different programs and 5 coaches. Amazing. And we've got students all around the world. And yeah, it's awesome. So
wow, that's amazing. No, that's a super interesting story. I want to ask you about how your coach kind of threw you in the deep end. Do you feel that, I guess from a psychological point of view, because it wasn't something he had necessarily prepped you for, that's kind of why you did well? Whereas if he kept telling you that, okay, we're going to go into 3 or 4 competitions and then you're going to be leading up to this big one, it's kind of like you didn't really have time to be nervous, if you know what I mean. Was it something like that?
Yeah.
Or?
There's definitely some truth to that, because I remember at the time, I had no expectation. I thought I was going to get rolled. And actually, because that's the other
thing, right? Because you're not, you expect to kind of lose, so you're like, oh, whatever, I'll just give it a go. You're not under any kind of any pressure, right? In a way.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened was, because I had never shot anything before the nationals, I didn't even have a score on the entry form. So at that time, the way they did target allocations was based on score. So they put the highest ranked archers down one end and lowest down the other end. And because I had absolutely no score, they didn't know how to rank me. So they actually, I was in the under 16, men's division. They didn't actually put me on a target with the under 16 men's. They put me with the under 16 women's. So there was a spare spot on the target. They just squeezed me in. Wow. So I didn't even know how I was doing through the whole tournament. I was just shooting and doing my thing, blissfully unaware that I was doing pretty good. and then actually, and no one knew who I was either. So that was kind of fun. But there's probably some truth in that. But it's been interesting from my own perspective as well, if I reflect on my own sort of psychological evolution as an archer, is that almost gave me a bit of arrogant confidence, or like blissful arrogance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where I just, I definitely in my junior divisions and things like that got into a bit of a funk where I expected to win everything, and I expected to do very well. And when I stepped up a league into the open men's, and particularly international tournaments, that was a bit of a wake-up call. So I think now in the way I coach and mentor particularly younger archers, it's very easy to become a big fish in a small pond. And then when you jump up a league, it can be a rude awakening. So I think that's something that I try and program in as well to their development, is almost like calibrate their expectations for performance, and always try and like raise the bar appropriately, regardless of the local competition.
No, definitely. I think it's a tough thing to kind of prep archers and be with them on that journey, so that they can peak at the right time. I was recently doing, well, I'm kind of in it, but I haven't completed it yet. It's my level 3 coaching, and so one of the topics we were doing is how to obviously take an archer and ensure that they can peak at the right time of year, performance goals and things like that. So maybe we're kind of jumping ahead here, but I mean, you already mentioned that you got X number of students worldwide on different programs. How do you manage, no doubt you have like a portfolio or a file for each student, but how do you manage to stay on top of each student, and how do you ensure that you're giving each student what they need?
Yeah, okay, that's a really good question. And because every student is at a different place in their development and requires different things. Some of them are in my development squad, and I see them 3 or 4 times a week. One of my students, Ilias, who we can talk about, is living down in Mullumbimby, which is about a 3-hour drive from where I am. Wow. So I see him, maybe he comes up once a week to see me, or maybe I see him at tournaments, but we do a lot of communication online and virtually and over the phone. And then I have some students around the world who are doing amazingly that I've never actually met in person, but we communicate regularly and closely and do a lot of video analysis and things like that. I don't know if it's the question you're asking, but like my basic philosophy towards that is very much as a coach that I will match the student's commitment. So what I find is that the students who put in more effort towards their training, I will match that. But not like that's a continuum, right? So the archers who are training daily and setting ambitious goals and audacious goals, but are actually sticking to that program and pursuing that, I'll always go over and above. But then if people don't sort of have that commitment to their own goals, then I'm not going to match that. I'm not going to do that for them. So in terms of record keeping and things like that, it's becoming more important now that the school is growing and now that we're getting more and more students. But there's a few different angles. Do you mean like we could talk about it from a local aspect, or we could talk about it from a, an online stuff? But
let me, okay. I guess we could split those two. Let me ask you in this way. So a lot of the coaching that I do, it's probably not high level coaching like you do. I do a lot of grassroots stuff. So I work, like we were talking before, I do a lot of work in schools, primary level, secondary level. You know, I can't necessarily boast of having students as high level as you. I wish, maybe I hope that, you know, some of them might go on to higher achievements, but I kind of see myself as just opening that door of entry level archery to them, giving them the basics. I mean, your system, it seems like, do you do a lot of, I guess, beginner courses, or do you take people individually and, you know, they have the goal of, well, I want to be a national champion, I want to be a state champion, I want this particular goal, and they start on that path to,
Right.
I guess, individual excellence. You know what I mean, if that makes sense?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, let's talk about that. So, same as you, I do a lot of community and development coaching as well. So we have different programs within Rogue Archery that we run, and we have like a tiered development structure, if that makes sense. So that's what we do, is we have a development pathway. So when archers come in, let's say they've never touched a bow before, they've just watched Lord of the Rings, thought it was cool, and signed up for a program, right? So they come along to a beginner program, and we have a curriculum that we run them through, like an 8-week program. It's similar to how we do with schools or in beginner programs. And then we teach them a basic curriculum of everything from safety and just basic process, teach them scoring, and we do some games and challenges. Then let's say they come from that and they say they want to work towards competitions or work towards Olympic gold or whatever their ambition might be. Then we have what's called our development squad. And so that's targeted towards archers who are at whatever level they're working towards competition. So within the development squad, I have 2 other coaches who assist me, Sarah Fuller and Will Ma, and they're amazing. So as a team, what we do is we have, again, basic coaching curriculum and technique fundamentals that we teach the entire team. And when they're coming from a beginner, we at Rogue Archery, we emphasize a really heavy emphasis on basic process and shot structure and technique structure and basic conditioning and just, you know, proprioception and motor control drills and stuff from like day one. And so at that level, the training doesn't have to be super personalized. You know, we have, you know, Monday night is bow fitness night. We do drills and SPT and scapular control drills and all that sort of stuff. Tuesday is technique coaching, and we're as a coaching team, we're helping them with individually what they need to work on within that framework of the shot process and things like that. And then as they move up from sort of rookies and they start to now have the right shape structure and the right form process and everything, and they're starting to do some local events and things, that's when it becomes a little bit more personalized, because you're no longer just teaching them basic process anymore. It's more about, you know, the mindset. It's about, you know, tracking their training plans and coming up with customized training plans that suits their, you know, their schedule. We're amateur athletes here, so everyone's either at school or working or whatever. Right. So it's very time management and motivation and finances, support, like that all becomes part of it. And we sort of try and mentor the archers closely, and we you know, we're talking on a regular basis about all of these things. And then from there, that's where I was kind of getting at, that now it becomes, I will match the archers' commitments. So for archers that you know, are training on a weekly basis, they're filling out their training plans, they're coming to training, they're doing their reflections, and they're participating in events, I'm there every step of the way with them. And yeah, so it kind of, it is a bit of a funnel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, it becomes more personalized and more attention to detail as they move up that, up that process.
Absolutely, excellent. My Zoom account is giving me a warning that I've got like 5 minutes left. So what we're going to do, it seems we're going to have to do like a
reset this,
a part 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to just pause this one here, and we're going to come back for part 2. Let me just pause this one.